Today, I'm gonna be busting some myths about alcohol. I'm gonna bust 3 common myths that we all think of when we think of quitting drinking. And I hope that they help you decide that taking a break from alcohol might not actually be such a bad thing. Before we dive too deep in today's topic, I'm Sarah Kaufman Bradstreet. I'm the founder of No More Wasted Days, and I help people reevaluate their relationship with alcohol through a 30-day alcohol-free challenge. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post any of my videos where I talk all about being alcohol-free and how ditching alcohol has changed my life. We're gonna go through 3 myths all about alcohol, and I am so excited about this because I post regularly on social media about my experience of quitting drinking 3 years ago and how my life has changed. And I moved through these 3 myths and I had to see that they were totally myths. These were things that I was creating in my mind, and when I ditched alcohol, I was able to see that these myths were just that. Myths. Let's hop into myth number 1. Alcohol makes you more fun. I will be 100% honest. I put off ditching alcohol for the longest time because I was worried that without alcohol, I would no longer be funny and I would no longer have fun. Sound familiar? I hear this from a lot of people that if they ditch alcohol, they'll lose their sense of humor, they won't be fun, no one will like them anymore. And I totally understand because I was there too. So if you didn't know, I quit drinking after a 30-day break from alcohol. I did these 30 days as kind of an experiment to see what life would be like without alcohol. And when I did, I was trying to bust some of these myths that I'm going to talk about today. One of them was that I wouldn't be fun anymore. And what I started to find is that I was actually more fun without alcohol. I started to realize that I make myself fun. Alcohol doesn't make me fun. I could no longer give alcohol that power over me. Alcohol isn't the thing that makes or break my personality, and it's not the thing that makes or break your personality either. So stop giving alcohol all the credit to your personality. You are awesome and you deserve that credit. One thing I had to rely on to bust this myth for myself is that I had to remember that I was fun in middle school and I didn't drink alcohol in middle school, and I was still a fun and funny person then. I was also a fun person in high school, and I rarely drank in high school, believe it or not, but I was a very fun and outgoing person. So I would rely on that for myself when I would start thinking, oh my gosh, I have to go do this thing without alcohol. I hope people like me. I hope I'm still fun. I hope they know I'm funny. I would sit back and go, you were funny in the past without alcohol, you're still funny now. Now let's talk about the truth when it comes to alcohol making you more fun and how it's totally not true. First of all, alcohol is a depressant. It slows down your brain. That does not make you more fun. That makes you slower. That makes you start to slur your speech. That makes it so you can't connect your thoughts as clearly. If you've ever talked to somebody who is a slow talker and takes a lot of pauses, you know that that person is not the most entertaining person to talk to. And that's what happens when you drink alcohol. It actually slows down your brain function. It makes your wit not as quick, and it makes it so you just can't even keep track of your thoughts, so you'll start repeating yourself and going round and round in circles. I really thought I was the life of the party when I was a drinker, but when I stepped back from alcohol and I was able to see that fact that it actually slowed me down, I knew that alcohol was not making me more fun. And the other thing I started to realize in this area is that alcohol had become my only hobby. When I was bored, I would drink alcohol. That is all I did for fun. That doesn't make you fun. That doesn't make you an interesting person. That makes you a person with only one hobby. Now I'm much more well-rounded and I have lots of hobbies, and that means I can connect with a lot of different people and a lot of different topics. When alcohol was my only form of having fun, it made me not as interesting. So how do I navigate situations now where I'm gonna have to socialize and I'm gonna have to be outgoing and show off my personality? How do I do that without alcohol, and how do I still come off as fun? Well, first I remind myself that everybody feels a little awkward in a social situation at first. That gives me an opportunity to actually help other people stop feeling as awkward by asking them questions. Whenever I go in with a new group of people doing something for the first time, I will go in with a few questions in the back of my mind that I can ask people so I can actually take the pressure off of them, and then you know what? We start talking and we start having fun together. I also also remind myself that being awkward is just part of the process in the beginning. I always think about when my cousins and I used to get together at Thanksgiving. I have a huge group of cousins, but we don't get to see each other very often. And when we were kids, the one time we would all get together was Thanksgiving. When we would first get together, it would be a little awkward at first and a little tense. And then without a doubt, we would end up having a great time within a few minutes. I always play that in my mind when I think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have a good time. I'm going to be totally awkward. I'm not going to have fun in this situation. I think to myself, it's going to feel awkward at first, and then all of a sudden it will start to flow. All right, let's move on to myth number 2. Alcohol is good for you. I used to believe this myth. I would read articles about how 1 glass of wine was actually good for you and had antioxidants. And in my mind, that meant have 3 glasses of wine. It will be even better for you. But I hate to burst your bubble. This is not true. Alcohol is not good for you in any way, shape, or form. And when I found this out, I was kind of embarrassed that I didn't have this knowledge. I've always been a person that is really conscious about what I put in my body, what food I eat, how I fuel it, and I work out almost daily. I'm really into having a healthy lifestyle. And yet I was drinking. I was drinking every night by the end. And I was working out and having this healthy lifestyle, but putting poison into my body. And when I found out how bad alcohol really is for you, I was kind of embarrassed by it. So let's dive into this topic just a little bit so you can be more knowledgeable in this. And when you are tempted to drink, you can start remembering alcohol is not good for me. I'm not going to choose to put this into my body. All right, first, those articles that we all read, they come up in our social media feeds. They say things like 1 glass of wine is known to make your heart healthier, right? We see those all the time. Different headlines telling us that drinking in moderation can actually help us live longer. Those articles are actually funded by alcohol companies. And when I found this out, I felt so dumb. But don't feel dumb. It's marketed to us to be like this. It's marketed to us in a way that's supposed to make us believe that alcohol is good for us, so we will consume more of the product and we will give their companies more money. But now you know you're more empowered, so you can make a more conscious decision in the future. Remember this so you can stay armed and knowledgeable. Alcohol is not good for you, not even 1 glass. And just think about it. Alcohol doesn't actually even taste that good. We think it tastes good, but we actually had to acquire the taste. I want you to go back and think about when you had your first drink of alcohol. For a lot of us, it was trying a parent's drink and making a face that was just like, oh my gosh, that is terrible. That's what I remember. I remember having a drink of my dad's beer and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe you drink that. Well, that's our body's way of telling us alcohol is bad for you. Alcohol is poison. So go back to that and remember that and choose something that actually tastes good and is actually good for you. If you've been following me for a while now, you know that one of my go-tos is kombucha. So get yourself a bottle of kombucha instead and enjoy that and actually get some gut health benefits out of it. Alcohol creates an unhealthy zone in our body. It makes it so our organs just can't work as well, and it also makes it so our gut health is thrown off. It makes it so our brain doesn't function as well. It just makes our whole body an unhealthy zone. So when you remove it, your organs start working more functionally, you start feeling more energetic, you'll even experience things like your anxiety going down because your brain function starts functioning a lot better. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally fed into this lie that alcohol is good for me. If I just have a little bit here and there, it's actually good for me. And now you're finding out that that's not so true. And you're like, well, what do I do now? Here's some things you can do to help your body repair itself. First, quit drinking. I know that's kind of a no-brainer, but ditch the alcohol, even if it's for 30 days. If you need a little extra support during those 30 days, I have a 30-day alcohol-free challenge, and the link is in the description of this video, so check that out if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, go for it on your own. Set a goal for how long you're gonna ditch alcohol and see if you actually start to feel physically better. I know that that was one of the benefits I felt. Suddenly, I actually felt more healthy. Second, start drinking a lot of water and rehydrating yourself. Alcohol is super dehydrating, so start aiming for drinking half of your body weight in ounces of water. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you, that number is really hard for me to hit, so if you're trying your best but not quite getting there, you're still putting in the work to hydrate yourself. When I quit drinking, I actually did a little challenge where I drank a gallon of water a day. I did that for a week. It was really hard, but I really do think it helped my body flush out those toxins. So if you want to ditch alcohol and rehydrate that body and help it detox a little more fast, maybe that's an option for you. Number 3, I want you to eat gut healthy foods. Eat things that are really good for your gut health biome and help your body recreate the flora that it needs. One way to do this is through fermented food. So doing things like kombucha, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut. Think anything that's fermented and it will really help reset that gut biome. Also, eat foods that are nutrient dense and very high in antioxidant. Think colorful foods, think vegetables, fruits, and think about healthy grains you can add into your diet like quinoa, brown rice, and old-fashioned oatmeal. Lastly, eat foods that are high in omega fatty acids to help restore that brain function. Foods like salmon, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. I love to just add chia seeds and flax seeds into fruit smoothies. That's a great way to get those nutrient-dense foods and add some of those omega fatty acids into your body. We're moving into our third myth that we'll bust today. Here it is. You'll lose friends if you quit drinking. That's right. I felt that way for so long. I was deathly afraid of quitting drinking because I thought I would lose my friends. And I will be 100% transparent with you. I do not have a huge friend circle. I am a person that is all about quality over quantity. So when I would think about ditching alcohol and losing some of my friends, I would think to myself, oh my gosh, I won't be left with anybody then. I was even afraid that my sister would be like, what? You don't drink anymore? Well, let me tell you, that is totally not what happened, okay? If you are fearing that you will lose friends when you quit drinking, I am here to tell you that is a myth. That will not actually happen. Now, I did lose some friends. I put it in quotation marks because those people that I did lose were kind of just acquaintances. I thought that they were friends, but the only thing we really had in common was our drinking. The other thing that happened when I quit drinking is I was able to take my beer goggles off and actually decide who my friends were. I finally started seeing that some of the people that I thought were really good friends actually weren't all that interesting. It's just that they had similar drinking habits as me. So I did lose some friends, but it turns out that maybe those people just weren't my people. One thing that happened that was such a huge bonus is some of my relationships got stronger after I quit drinking. I became more invested in people that were more important to me. I could clearly see who the people were in my life that I really need to add more value into their lives and they can add value into my lives. My relationship with my sister feels stronger than ever. We have always been best friends, but we don't get to see each other all the time. But I feel like now that I don't drink, when we get together, we click into a deeper conversation so much faster than we ever did before when I was drinking. And as I mentioned, I was worried that my sister would not find me fun anymore or not find me interesting when I quit drinking. Well, it turns out I was actually the instigator in our relationship when it came to drinking. She barely drinks now, and we actually have so much fun together when we hang out. Another thing that happened is my running partner and I became best friends. I always ran with my running partner, Emily, in the morning, and she didn't really know me outside of that. But when I quit drinking, I was able to lean on her. The cool thing is about our relationship is we always had really deep conversations. We always really knew what was going on in each other's lives because we'd meet super early and go on these runs. So when I quit drinking, she was one of the first people I told. And she was like, I had no idea this was even an issue because she only knew me as her running partner. So she was one of the people that really only knew non-drinking Sarah. So it was really cool to watch our friendship develop and become stronger. And I have been able to be by her side in some tough moments, and she has been able to be by my side in some tough moments. And I am just so thankful that ditching alcohol made it so I was able to strengthen relationships like that. One last thing that happened is I started communicating with my parents more frequently. When I was a drinker, I rarely called them, I rarely texted them. I know that doesn't sound good, but it's just the truth. And when I quit drinking, we started doing a family text message thread. My dad actually started it up in 2020, and it's something that's just kept going. Every night we all text each other and just tell each other what happened in our day, and it has been one of the coolest things that's happened. I really can't say that drinking Sarah would have done something like that. And the last thing I want to touch on is that you may lose some friends when you quit drinking. It's a truth. But what I have found, and I said this earlier, is that those friends that you're losing are most likely acquaintances. Acquaintances are people that maybe have similar interests as you, but they're not people that you call on when you're going through big struggles in your life and you need that extra support. You will not lose your friends. Your friends are the people who have the same values as you, and they are there to support you through the thick and thin. Those bonds will become stronger. Okay, those are the myths I'm gonna bust for you today. And I know there's more myths out there that we could bust, like drinking makes you boring, or when you quit drinking, you're super bored all the time. And if you have that thought, you can go over and watch this video right here about beating boredom when you first quit drinking, and I will totally bust that myth for you and help you get through it. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you get alerted when I post other videos.